Welcome back to a Clan a Day podcast, brought to you by bagtownclans.com. I'm your host, Colin MacDonald, and today we're exploring the remarkable history of Clan Leslie, one of Scotland's most intriguing and wide-reaching families. The Leslies trace their origins back to the 11th century, and their story spans not only the Scottish Lowlands but also the battlefields of Europe and even Russia. This clan's legacy is one of military brilliance, diplomatic acumen, and unwavering loyalty to the crown. The tale of Clan Leslie begins with a Hungarian nobleman named Bartolf, or Bartholomew, who arrived in Scotland around 1067. Bartolf was part of the retinue of Edgar Atheling, the English prince, and Saint Margaret of Scotland, who became the wife of Malcolm III, also known as Malcolm Canmore. It's said that Bartolf helped Queen Margaret cross a dangerous river, to which she cried, "Grip fast," a phrase that would become the Leslie family motto. For his valour, Bartolf was rewarded handsomely by the Scottish king. He was granted governorship of Edinburgh Castle, along with estates in Fife, Angus, and Aberdeenshire. From his lands in the Garioch district of Aberdeenshire, Bartolf established the family's ancestral seat at Lesselyn, from which the name Leslie would evolve. The Leslies quickly became a powerful family in Scotland, both in terms of military strength and territorial influence. Early on, they formed a key part of King Malcolm's strategy to secure the Lowlands and defend against the Highland clans. Sir Norman Leslie, the fifth descendant of Bartolf, was among the first to adopt the surname Leslie and played a key role in the Scottish Wars of Independence. His name appears in the famous Ragman Roll, and his son and grandson were loyal supporters of Robert the Bruce during his struggle for the Scottish crown. One of the clan's most captivating stories is that of David Leslie, the fourth Baron of Leslie, who joined the Crusades in the late 14th century. After a long absence, he was presumed dead, and his cousin, Sir George Leslie, was given control of the Leslie estates. Just as Sir George was settling into his new role, David made a dramatic return to Scotland, reclaiming his lands. The situation was resolved peacefully, and upon David's death, the estates passed to Sir George's descendants. This led to the rise of the Rothes and Balcaen branches of the Leslie family, two cadet lines that would become the principal representatives of the clan. The Leslies were not only known for their military prowess, but also for their influence in European affairs. They produced 5 generals who served in the armies of Scotland, Sweden, Germany, and Russia. One of the most famous Leslies, Alexander Leslie, became a field marshal in the Swedish army under the legendary Gustavus Adolphus during the 30 Years' War. Returning to Scotland, Alexander Leslie commanded the Covenanter forces during the Wars of the Three Kingdoms and secured a famous victory at the Battle of Newburn in 1640. General David Leslie, another prominent figure of the clan, played a pivotal role in the English Civil War. As a commander of Scottish Covenanter forces, he defeated Royalist armies at the Battle of Philiphaugh in 1645, effectively turning the tide of the war. His victory over the Marquess of Montrose was particularly significant, as Montrose had been inflicting heavy losses on the Covenanters prior to that. David Leslie would later lead Scottish Royalist forces during the ill-fated campaign of King Charles II, culminating in his capture at the Battle of Worcester in 1651. He spent time imprisoned in the Tower of London before being released after the Restoration. The Leslies were also deeply involved in the intellectual and religious life of Scotland. John Leslie, Bishop of Ross, was a staunch supporter of Mary, Queen of Scots. during her tumultuous reign. He authored a history of Scotland, and his loyalty to Mary even saw him imprisoned in the Tower of London for a time. Other notable Leslies include Sir John Leslie, an acclaimed mathematician and philosopher whose contributions to science were recognised throughout Europe. Perhaps one of the most fascinating aspects of Clan Leslie is their far-reaching influence across Europe. Members of the Balkan branch became prominent figures in the Holy Roman Empire, with several Leslies serving as field marshals and even counts. Walter Leslie, in particular, gained notoriety for his role in the assassination of General Wallenstein during the 30 Years' War. Though this act was controversial, it secured him significant rewards from the Emperor of Germany. Walter's nephew, James Leslie, would go on to defend Vienna against the Turks in 1683, earning him further acclaim. Throughout the centuries, the Leslies managed to maintain their influence in Scotland despite the political upheavals of the 17th and 18th centuries. The Rothes line, in particular, remained closely connected to the Scottish crown. During the Jacobite uprisings, the Leslies were on the side of the government, with John Hamilton Leslie, the 9th Earl of Rothes, commanding a regiment at the Battle of Sheriffmuir in 1715. By the 19th century, much of the Leslie estate had been sold off, but Leslie House in Fife remained the seat of the Earls of Rothes until a fire in 1919. Today, Clan Leslie continues to hold a special place in both Scottish and European history. Their ancestral castles, such as Leslie Castle and Balcaen Castle in Aberdeenshire, still stand as a testament to their legacy, though many have fallen into ruin over the centuries. The current chief of the clan, the Honor Alexander Leslie, represents a lineage that has seen members serve as warriors, bishops, and statesmen across Europe. Thank you for joining us on this episode of A Clan a Day podcast. We hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the history of Clan Leslie, a family whose influence and bravery have left an indelible mark on Scottish and European history. Be sure to tune in tomorrow as we continue our journey through the clans of Scotland. I'm Colin MacDonald, and as always, Goin' Airy and Bothar Leet.